1 o'clock. Yep. Okay, well, thank you everyone for joining us. My name is Natasha Telger, and today we're going to go through some of the tools that are available to Illinois WorkNet partners. If you would like, you can go ahead and download the materials on the lower left-hand corner of the screen. And you can also answer the polling questions. Today we're going to take a look at site management, user management, and reporting tools. And then we're going to give everyone an opportunity to log into their Illinois WorkNet partner account so that they can check to make sure they have access to those tools. And if you need access and you don't have access, then we can work with you to update your user role or work with your coordinator to make sure that you can access the tools that you need, and then we'll talk about the next steps. Let's go ahead and jump in. The first thing we're going to talk about are our site administration tools. Now with the site administration, one of the things that we always, I usually refer to site management as like the backbone for the workforce partner pathway. With the site management, it's a way that we organize the locations and the workforce partners and your access to certain tools. And also, it is also used to populate the Find a Location Near You search feature that is available on the individual side of Illinois WorkNet. Now, we have different types of partners within site management. We have access sites that are open to the general public. We have access sites that are not open to the general public. And when I say an access site, I'm referring to a location that has internet access for their customers. In some cases, those may be open to the public, or in other cases, maybe it's a school or you have a specific group of people, and it's not open to the general public. Just to be clear, the sites that populate Find a Location is a location that does not have internet access for the customers. However, they do use Illinois WorkNet or direct their customers to Illinois WorkNet. So those are called dissemination sites. And I'll be talking about those later on as we go through these tools. It's also really important to keep your information up to date. We want to make sure that you are associated with the correct location. We know that there's different funding and different changes that occur that you may switch to a different location, you may switch to a different organization, and it's really important that we not only have your information correct, but the site's information is correct, because for one thing, if your site is used with the Find a Location near you, we don't want to send people to the wrong location or tell them that there are services available at that location that they really can't access. So we don't want to send out wrong information. Also, we have different tools like customer groups and communication tools and different reporting tools, and we want to make sure that you're getting the correct type of tools and correct access to tools, but also with your communication, we want to make sure that your information is correct, because that is also used as your signature, and we want to, again, make sure that your customers have the way that we recommend is that you direct your partner to the Illinois WorkNet Workforce Partner homepage, and they can simply follow the prompts and use a wizard approach to complete and submit their partner site request. That information is reviewed. An automatic message is actually sent to the coordinator, and that information is reviewed, and if it's approved, then they are automatically an LMI WorkNet partner site, and they have access to the different tools and resources for setting up a partner site. You can also, if you're an LWIA coordinator or an LWIA manager, and we'll talk about those user roles in just a little bit, but if you're one of those two user roles, then you can use the site management form and submit sites directly into site management. Then we also have another way to populate site management, and that's through IWDS. IWDS is the controlling source for the information. So for those locations, if you do have an update that needs to occur for that location, then you will need to update it through IWDS, and then that will automatically update on WorkNet. And I'll show you an example of that when we do the demonstration. There are a couple slides in here that just kind of show you the workflow of an organization submits their information. They can, when they do that, if they're new, then they can set up their LMI WorkNet partner account and their site information submitted all at one time. It automatically sends an email to the coordinator, which approves or denies it. If it's approved, they're automatically set up. We set them up as an organization admin person, and that's another one of those user roles that we'll talk about in just a minute. But if they have an organization with the site administration, you can, if you're an OA coordinator or OA manager, you can go ahead and submit sites for your local workforce investment area. There are a couple of different types of sites. We have sites that serve businesses, like your business service teams, and then we also have the locations that assist individuals. That's going to be the majority of your site. So you would select individual and answer the questions. So once you add those sites, if you look at the bottom part of the image in this PowerPoint, you'll see the far right column, it says source. And all of the sites that are either entered using the being entered directly into site management or through the or submitted directly by the partner site, those are all called WorkNet source sites. You can easily see which one is added directly by IWDS because the source says IWDS. So that's what we'll take a look at those, an example of that in just a little bit. Whenever your site is added, then you have access, and once your account is approved, you have access to various resources within LMI WorkNet. We do provide resources to help you if you would like some of the resources to direct individuals to the LMI WorkNet website. And we have a tool that you can either set up marketing materials. So you don't have to recreate those marketing materials. You can simply use the customizable marketing materials that are available and add your current, your organization's location and contact information. We have lots and lots of resources that are available to you, even if you just go to the Workforce Partner site and you don't even have to be logged in. But once you do log in, we have even more resources for you. And some of those are different types of assessments, customer groups. We have the Certified LMI WorkNet Advisor online course. And then we also have, if you complete the Certified LMI WorkNet Advisor course, then you have the option of taking the Content Management course, which is really short, simple. And by completing that course, you can customize the local information and contribute to that information that is available through LMI WorkNet, and that's local information. Again, we also have access to marketing materials, customizable marketing materials. Now, earlier I had mentioned that we have the different user roles. So we have LWIA coordinator, an LWIA manager, organization administrator, and public viewer. Those are the ones that you'll really be using. Most people just need a public viewer access. If you are going to have a person that is going to be maintaining the site information, which we highly encourage that you at least have one person for each organization with that user role, then their user role would be organization admin, and that would allow them to have access to the tools to maintain their site information as well as complete quarterly reports and run reports. So this is, you can maintain and update the user roles in user management. That's one of the menu items. And you would select, you would narrow down, use your search criteria, narrow down, then search for your person, and you can change their user role. You will only see the user role, the highest level that you'll see as far as a user role is whatever yours is. So if you're organization admin, you'll only see organization admin and lower. If you're an LWIA coordinator or manager, you'll see LWIA coordinator or manager and any of the roles below that. The LWIA coordinator and LWIA manager basically have access to the same information. They have access to all of the local workforce investment area information as far as the different sites, for the local workforce investment area. Now, I've been talking about the different access levels and user roles. And so as I mentioned, LWIA manager, LWIA coordinator, complete LWIA-wide access. Now, as we progressed along and we needed to have a person, let's say they were with 3 different locations, and their account was associated with location A, but they also were responsible for maintaining the site information and completing quarterly reports for sites B and C. Well, since you can only be associated with one location, and they don't really need to have access to the entire LWIA and that information, what we did was we added an area where you can be identified as a primary contact. You can be identified as a primary contact on as many sites as you need to be, and that is actually done through site management. So you can have access to your location as an org admin and whichever other locations that you need to, and that would be, your LWIA coordinator or manager. You can work with them and to get that set up. Okay. Earlier, I had talked about quarterly reports or mentioned quarterly reports. Now, we have different types of sites. We have a dissemination site, and dissemination sites do not complete quarterly reports. And then we have access sites that are not IWDS. Remember, they're a workNet source site. Those sites that are access and they are workNet source, then they have a quarterly report that's not required, but it can be used as a communication tool with the coordinators and managers to communicate how you're integrating Online WorkNet into your daily activities. So those are available as well. Then we have access sites that are IWDS site. Remember, IWDS is the source for that location. Those locations are required to complete a quarterly report. And for those locations, the quarterly report measures the level of integration. So it's either minimum, moderate, or extensive. Now, you don't have to worry about which site receives which type of report. The system will automatically generate those reports and provide access to the appropriate people within their Workforce Partner account. So all they have to do is go to quarterly report. They'll have access to the report and that information, and it will be based, they'll have access to it, and the appropriate report will be sent because it's radio buttons, yes, no buttons, and we'll take a look at that in just a minute. Then we have activity reports. So there's a variety of activity reports, and your access to the activity reports depends on your user role. and just access that you have to the different tools. So those are available under activity reports. And so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to open up a new share pod so that I can provide a demonstration. And we'll go ahead and get started here. Now, at any time with the demonstration, if you would, and we also, I forgot to mention this, I apologize. We have Chelsea Jones, that's part of our team in Springfield, and she is following the questions in the chat pod. So if you have any questions at any time in the chat pod, Chelsea will be able to answer those right away for you. Also, if you'd like to see a larger image of the screen sharing that I'm providing, you can click on full screen and it will expand that window to full screen. And to get it back to the regular size, just click on the button again and it puts it back to the original size. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to zoom in my computer screen just a little bit so it's easier for you to see. I'm at lmyworknet.com, and we're going to take a look at the Workforce and Education Partners pathway. And when I first come in here, there's lots of partner. You will receive notices for when we have upcoming webinars and invitations to register for those webinars. But, you can always take a look at our calendar and just kind of take a glance and see what's available, just in case you missed one of those emails. We also have on the homepage for the Workforce Partners, the links to setting up your partner either account or submitting your site to become an online WorkNet partner. So they can just simply go to that area and follow the prompts to submit their site information. So I'm going to go ahead and log into my account. Okay. Now, whenever you log into your account, you can see the screen changes, and there's a lot more information on here. Now, mine has a little bit more information than yours just because it's at the state level and have access to different types of tools to assist other workforce professionals. So you'll see a few more items here. But you do have, depending on your user role, it will provide access to these various tools, or menus, I should say. And so our focus today is site administration. So I'm going to click on Site Admin. And the first thing we discussed today was site management. Now again, my site management is going to look a little bit different than yours because I have access to the state. So we're going to take a look at Local Workforce Investment Area 1. I'm going to view their sites. Now this is a view that I would see as an LWIA coordinator or manager because I can see all the sites within that LWIA. So I can sort them by name. I can take a look and see if they're active or not. I can take a look at the dissemination or access site. And I can also So we'll go ahead and I'm going to scroll down here until I get to an IWDS site. I'm going to click Edit. Now once I click Edit, and this is an IWDS site. So remember I said that IWDS is the controlling source for this information. So you'll see that I have different blocks, okay? And in my particular account, it says unlock IWDS field. Well, that's fine. I could do that, and I could change the information, but it doesn't really matter because once 1 o'clock in the morning rolls around, I believe that's what time that happens, IWDS will update that information and sync it so that it's in line and in sync with IWDS. So the takeaway that I want you to have is that when you see these little padlocks, you need to take a look at the quick tip and follow the DCO policy 06PL24, and that will take you, that link will take you to the resources so that you can find the instructions and so forth for updating IWDS. I mentioned before, we have our primary contact. If you have whichever sites you have access to, you can update the primary contact. Now, the OEA coordinator, whenever an IWDS site is added, they'll be notified and asked to update the services because these locations will be provided in the Find a Location Near You. And it's really important that we update that information with the correct types of services and so forth, and hours of operation and that kind of thing, because we want to make sure that we are sending people to locations that are really open and that have the services that they say within LMI WorkNet. So it's really important that we keep that information up to date. So I'm going to go next to user management. Sites that are for that organization. And so if you only have access to your particular location information, then that's all you'll be able to search for. But you can have you identify your person, you can give them a user role. Again, if I'm an organization administrator, that's as high as the access level that I can assign somebody. I can't assign anybody anything higher. You can also help the person with recovering their password. They can just select Recover Password, and it will send them an automatic notice to help them with recovering their password. Okay. Our next area that we discussed is activity reporting. It's taking just a moment. With the activity reporting, we have a variety of reports that are available, and again, that's dependent on your level, whether OEA-wide or at your single organization, and what you've been provided access to. There we go. So you can just select one of these reports, again, depending on what your user role is, and the additional search criteria will appear based on the type of report that is selected. Our next area is quarterly reporting, and mine looks a little different. This is just set up so that you can take a look at the different types of reports. Really simple and short for the most part. This is just 2 areas, and the key that I want you to see with this one is that this is an example of a report that measures the level of integration. So you can see we have minimal, moderate, extensive. Now, I'm clicking on moderate, yes, anything higher, and it's not doing anything. If I click minimal to yes, then it unlocks moderate. I have to select both yeses for moderate, otherwise I can't select extensive. Once I select that, it unlocks extensive and so forth. So it builds upon each level. Okay, so that's an example of a quarterly report that is similar to measuring the level of integration for IWDS locations. Your other WorkNet source locations, they have the same basic questions that an IWDS location has, but you'll notice that it does not measure the level of minimum, moderate, or extensive for each of those. So I can just select any random ones as yes. So that is the quarterly report. Now, our webinar today will be saved or downloaded, and it'll be available on the tutorials page. So we have other assessment information and tool information that's available um, on the tutorials page, but then today's session will be over here under Site Administration Overview, just for later on, so that you'll know where to find that. So let me go ahead and go back to our webinar. Okay, now the purpose of our group check is we want to have everyone who needs to have access to either site management or to quarterly reports. We want you to go ahead and log into your Illinois WorkNet partner account, and we want you to do a quick check to, first of all, click on Site Administration, click on Site Management, and then take a look at those sites. Are those the sites that you're supposed to have access to? You know, if you don't see a site that you think that you should have access to, then please let us know, and we can work with you and your coordinator to make sure that you do get access to that site. The other thing is to check on quarterly reports, and if you are responsible for completing quarterly reports, then please make sure that you have access to that. And something to think about for the quarterly reports are, you know, yes, I do have access to 2 locations, but I'm really supposed to have access to 4 locations. So let us know that as well. And if you are a brand new site and you click on quarterly report and you don't see anything there, then that's fine. Your next report will be available on April 1st. So it looks like we do have that is good. Otherwise, I think everybody should be taken care of. So we're going to go ahead and move on to our next steps. And for the next steps, we want to make sure that your site information is correct, because we want to make sure we don't send people to the wrong location and so forth. We want to offer you that if you don't have a decal for your door or window, you're an Illinois WorkNet access site, then go ahead and let us know. You can send us an email at info@illinoisworknet.com. If you are a new location, I have on here January 1st, but really I meant April 1st. For if you're a new location, your quarterly report will and if you're a digital divide site, or if you are an IWDS site, then go ahead and complete that. And your quarterly reports are due by the 15th of the month. They will be available after the 15th of the month until the new quarterly report is due, but you will be receiving automatic notices if you're required to complete the quarterly report that you haven't completed it yet, and so will your coordinator. So if you can complete that, if you're required to do so by the 15th of the month, it'd be very, very, very much appreciated, and especially appreciated by your coordinator, because they won't receive those automatic notices that a report is overdue. Then we also have the CEWA that's available, the Certified Illinois WorkNet online course that's available, and those tutorials that I talked about, I showed you. And then we also have some things just to keep your eyes open for. We are going to go through, Illinois WorkNet is going to go through a major update redesign. It's time for it, and so that's what we are working on. And we will be offering you some opportunities to provide feedback. And so keep an eye out for those. We also have other training opportunities that are available. We have webinars that are scheduled, and so keep an eye open for those. And also you can always check back at our calendar too if you think you might have missed something. And then we are also just on the verge of being able to release our job prep app. the Sprint 2, which is our second version of the job prep. So we'll be working on that as well. And also, we really do want to encourage everyone to join the Illinois Virtual Job Club Network and LinkedIn. I know some of our participants are definitely in that because I've seen conversations that are going on. And so we really do appreciate your conversations. We encourage you to, and not only you participate if you have a LinkedIn account, but then also for your customers, if they happen to have a LinkedIn account, then we encourage them to be part of the Virtual Job Club Network as well. So with that, looks like we have a couple of little things to follow up on, and we will do that directly with those individuals. But if you have any questions, we'll go ahead and leave the chat up for a little while. Other than that, I really appreciate you taking the time to join us today and your patience as we work through with the different participants to make sure everybody has the appropriate access. So have a great day.